Do you ever feel like your mind is always racing? Maybe it prevents you from sleeping. Maybe you feel a little bit scattered. In our Make Sense ecosystem, we always say that, we believe that everyone, and that includes you and me and everyone, is highly capable, but just scattered. Well, in this episode, we're going to explain how to stop overthinking. By stopping overthinking, we're going to learn how to reclaim our focus in a world that's really designed to distract you. We're going to learn how to stop letting things like social media, opinions, constant notifications, all those things control your mood and your life. We're going to learn how to stop wasting our emotional energy on things that don't bring you joy and success. So once again, if you have a goal to be at peace today and experience joy and success, this episode's going to be for you. So what if I could show you how to quiet a noisy mind? Would that be beneficial to you? For me, it saved my life. So if you're tired of feeling mentally scattered and want to finally take back control, we always say we're going to teach people how to become the shot caller and reclaim control as the dominant forces of their decision-making process and their perception. But if you take back control of your attention, this conversation is going to be for you.
Makes sense.
So let's make sense of quieting the mind in this noisy world that we live in. There's moments in our life, after times of being in deep focus, or maybe in a moment of presence at a seminar or a retreat. I was talking to the plant medicine world. These are people that all go on these retreats and they have these amazing breakthrough experiences, but could happen at a seminar, could happen from meditation, but we just experience what it's like where everything feels quieter. So I don't know if you have any practices like that, but there's these experiences that we have in life where we get a little bit of a taste of what it's like to feel like everything in life. In fact, that is probably the number one reason. That's one of the main reasons that I go out there. Is it's a great way to break free from myself. Joe Dispenza, who is just one of the greatest minds out there, as far as I'm concerned, he does a talk called Breaking the Habit of Being Myself. So think about that for a second. Is there value, and what would that be like to break the habit of being yourself? I just think it's a great idea because I find like the idea of getting out of my own way is an indication that it's not an extrinsic problem, right? It's me. So we go on these events and we experience what it's like to get quiet, or you might even have a great day and you're in flow and you experience what it's like to have less noise. And we come back from that experience, or we wake up the next day and then we come back to our normal life. So here's what's interesting about all that stuff that I just shared. Upon deep introspection of this phenomenon where we have these moments of clarity and silence, and then we come back to the craziness, to the noise. I found that it's not that the world got louder, because sometimes when you really experience what it's like to be clear and focused and you come back, it almost seems like the world, it's not just noisy, it's even noisier. So it's not that the world got louder, it's more that you got quieter. Right? And then noticed that something that was always there, but you notice it even more. It's kind of like that first moment that we turn the lights on in the morning, and that realization can feel overwhelming. So it's about asking this question: how do I quiet a noisy mind in a world that never shuts up? So if we feel like we're living in a busy, busy world, a noisy world right now, God, we've got the war going on, we've got economy, we've got all these societal things and our identity and the social media reel that's telling you that you're not good enough, all of that stuff. It kind of can look like the world is not shutting up. So how do I quiet my mind in a world like that? And most people, I think, start to struggle because they solve this the wrong way. So we're going to kind of unpack that a little bit. What people typically try to do to quiet a noisy mind in a world that doesn't show up or shut up is they try to eliminate the noise. That's like, as I said, a couple of weeks ago, that's like trying to nail a piece of Jell-O to the ceiling. That's like trying to drink water with a fork, to try to eliminate the noise. And I know that we're probably thinking, well, I have noise canceling headphones and things like that, but that doesn't eliminate the noise. That just eliminates your perception of it. So it's important to recognize that noise is always there, right? So they try to escape it and they try to control it therein. And, very hard to control uncontrollables. And I always remind people that if you're feeling things like anger, frustration, but what if I told you that that's not how all of this works, to try to eliminate the noise? What if living a peaceful, focused life isn't about removing the noise? It's more about managing our relationship with the noise. And this is going to be a big, big shift. So here's the truth. The thoughts in your head, they're going to think. Emotions are going to move. The world will keep spinning. These things don't require our permission to show up. So park right there for a second. Think about all this concept of the noise and the distractions and the unsolicited criticism that we get, all of that stuff, and the thoughts in your head. None of those things require our permission to show up. However, here's the big distinction. They do require our participation to stay. We're going to talk about not participating with everything, not trying to eliminate it, but just saying, I'm not going to participate in that. And you do that in some walks of your life. So unwanted thoughts, feelings, distractions are not the problem. The problem is our participation with them. So once again, feeding into this idea that we need to get out of our own way. I don't think that there's more noise right now. It's more that we've become incredibly good at engaging with all of it. Now, if you look at all of the avenues, the noise is coming through, all of the channels, well, yes, I could say that it becomes more difficult. But the question is there more noise? I always like to look back at these crazy times like the barbarians or even the Civil War, where the red coats and the blue coats would come and they would take a knee and basically everyone would die. Just imagine what that was like back then, where the father of the house would be like, hey, children, hey, wife, I'm going to go die. Imagine if we had social media and TV back then, right? So I believe that the noise is always there, the distractions, but we just have more channels right now. And this is why so many people feel overwhelmed, right? It's not about the problem is not that it's happening. It's that we're increasingly engaging with it and we're reacting to it and often feeding it. I always say that what we consume on a regular basis ends up being assumed. So if we're consuming the news and negative things, and we're hanging around with the negative people all the time, well, of course, we're going to assume that to be our reality. We're giving too much emotional energy and meaning to these distractions that have always been there, and they'll never not be there. If you have a good day and you find clarity, like I said, I go to the Amazon and I have this peaceful, clear moment, the distractions are still there. I'm just not paying attention to them at that time. I love to know that because I love the idea of being fully, radically accept everything. Good days, bad days, they're all necessary. You can't have light without dark. So this idea, our attention, everything seems to feel urgent and it feels like it deserves our attention. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.
Makes sense.